Hey everybody, welcome to the show. Around the Nation right here, Jeff Waldorf. Got a good show for you guys today. I do apologize for being a little bit late today. We had some technical problems, of course, with one of the videos. So that video will not be part of the show because it would have taken forever to get it done. Nonetheless, we got a lot of other good stories here with video to go along with it. It's a Trump-heavy show today, so of course, we're going to talk about him basically admitting that he's a white nationalist. Fun. We also have a actually not bad strategy from the Republicans in the midterms to boost excitement. Now that's interesting. We'll talk about that. Then we've got Trump tax cuts for the middle class. Weird. Well, wait. Well, okay, we'll talk about that. Then, of course, we'll talk about a independent panel of, well, I should say a Fox News panel that is absolutely 100% correct. And what do I mean by that? We'll get into the details about the caravan and how about the propaganda is not scaring certain people. Awesome. So that's fun. Then we've got Alex Jones screaming at poop. Do I not have the fun stories? I bring the fun. I bring the absurd. And so we'll talk about that today. I know. Only in the craziness of our current political climate will we be talking about Alex Jones screaming at feces. What are you going to do? What are you going to do? It's just one of those days. Okay. Anyway, before I get into the show, please give us a like and a share. It helps us out greatly. Not only that, but please subscribe. That, of course, we are near 91,000 subscribers. So, you know, we're getting closer and closer to that 100,000 mark every single day. And if you haven't already, please hit like on our Facebook page. Facebook.com/TYTNation helps us out. We're trying to get to 10,000 follows on that page. So that's going to help us out greatly if we can do that as well. Twitter, of course, you can follow me. My graphic's actually wrong. The graphic is, or I should say the Twitter account should be at ATN on TYT. So I gotta get to my graphics department and update that. So as soon as I find a graphics department. Okay. Anyway, so that's what we got. We're going to talk about that. Yes, you guys are correct. Alex Jones was screaming at poop. So we'll talk about that. You guys didn't miss much. People that are just coming in, we are horribly late today. So, and that's my fault, and I apologize for that wait and any confusion following. All right, so let's move on. Let's start the first story with Donald Trump admitting that he is a nationalist. Okay. So Donald Trump has finally admitted the truth that he is a nationalist. Now, at a recent rally to support Ted Cruz, he said this. You know, they have a word. It sort of became old-fashioned. It's called nationalist. And I say, really? We're not supposed to use that word? You know what I am? I'm a nationalist, okay? I'm a nationalist. He also said, use that word. Use that word. So, okay. Let me kind of break this down. He's like, oh, I'm a nationalist. I'm a nationalist as opposed to those globalists. Wait, you heard what he said. Globalist, he said, a globalist is a person that wants the globe to do well. Frankly, not caring about our country so much, and you know what? We can't have that. Oh my God, caring about the world. Oh, sounds horrible. Wanting the rest of the humanity on planet Earth to do well. Horrible thing. That's actually not what it means, but I want to address that just for a second. Like, so here's the thing. Using that definition, which again, I don't think that's exactly what he means by that. But I do care about the earth. I do care about everybody on the earth. Does that make me a globalist? I guess apparently according to that definition, yes, apparently. Now, like, I care about not only people in the United States, I actually care about people in other countries. I care about people in Russia. I care about people in China. I care about people in Palestine. I care about people in Egypt. I care about people. Human beings. If that makes me a globalist and that's like something that's terrible, oh my God, right? But again, that's not what that means, at least when it comes in the context of Trump and the alt-right. No, what globalist means to them is the Jews. That is an anti-Semitic smear against Jewish people who there is of course, a big conspiracy or whatever. Oh, the Jews run all the banks and they run the world and all that stuff. Yeah, okay. But that's what that means, right? It's a euphemism for Jewish people. And as far as nationalist, well, nationalist is also a euphemism for white people, for white nationalists, right? White supremacy in reality. And so, look, he can put out this bullshit thing, definition of, oh no, globalists are just people that care about the world over the United States. That's not what that means. That's not what he means. He knows who butters his bread. He knows the white supremacists are part of his base. It's one of the biggest dog whistles in human history. It's not just a dog whistle, it's a human whistle. Everybody can fucking hear it. We can all hear it. It's right out in the open. So whatever bullshit thing that you can come up with to try to deflect, we're not buying it. I don't give a shit, right? I don't give a shit about what you think or what you're saying that you think, oh no, it's not that, you're just projecting. No. It's white supremacy. And of course, being anti-Jewish as well. And it's, again, that big dog whistle. But it's not just white supremacists. It's the people who are scared of the so-called browning of America. That's who he appeals to, right? That's why they can't stop talking about the caravan of migrants heading towards the border. It's that fear of the other, right? The person who is not part of our tribe, not one of us. Donald Trump and the rest of his base are the last gasp of white supremacy. They have lost. They've lost. They've lost that culture war. And they fear this caravan because they fear what it represents. The changing demographics of the country, which will force the current Republican Party out of office. It's about power, right? And it's because, look, the majority of people, look, are not represented by the Republican Party. The Republican Party basically represents white people, and to be honest, rich white people. That's what that is, right? They don't want to lose their power because throughout American history, we've treated minorities like shit. And they're afraid that if white people become a minority, well, then everybody else is going to treat us like shit. It's about that fear. Again, you hear them in their chants, right? We will not be replaced. Laura Ingraham ran a segment of, if you vote for Democrats or if you don't get out and vote for Republicans, you will be replaced. You will be replaced. That's not what's happening. People, we're not like trying, like there are not people out there that are trying to sit there and replace all white people with minorities. That's ridiculous. That's bullshit thinking. That's conspiracies, right? And that's huge, like, identity politics fear-mongering. You know, like identity politics, you're playing white identity politics right now if you believe in this shit. It's all about fear. Instead of actually getting along with as human beings and celebrating differences, as well as saying, hey, we've got this in common, then you're playing the fear game. And that's what this is, right? And it's all about fear. And Donald Trump is out there saying, oh no, I'm a nationalist just like you guys. And don't worry, I got your back because I'm just as afraid of being replaced by minorities as you are. That's what this is about. And it's so incredibly transparent. Okay. Moving on. So President Trump will, let me try that again here. It appears that President Trump will be hitting the campaign trail far more during the midterms than other presidents. And it's actually not a bad idea. Now, it's being reported that Trump will forego some of his presidential duties. Let's be honest, he doesn't really do a whole lot. Let's be honest. I mean, what does he do? He watches TV most of the day. Yeah, okay. But he's getting out there, and he's actually campaigning very heavily for Republicans. Now, that could help them. It could also hurt them. So we'll have to see what happens in the midterm. Now, CBS correspondent Major Garrett actually talked about this, and he had some interesting analysis. And I want to go to that video right now.
I think that the immigration crisis that... I think that the immigration... I think that...
One of the big stories right now.
I think that the immigration...
Okay, hold on.
This feels like a different kind of midterm.
It does.
Does it to you, too?
It feels like a national election, does it not? And there is a sense in the polling data that energy in both parties is at historic highs. We've never seen that before. Usually if it's a midterm, one party is up, the other party is depressed. That's the Trump effect. I write in my book, Mr. Trump's Wild Ride, that under Trump, politics feels primal. Nationalized. Why? Because he always wants to be the center of every conversation. And these rallies, he's going to do 2 a day for the 6 days up to the election. 2 rallies a day, the White House has told me. That's intense personalization of national politics.
So
that's Trump's way.
Whether or not it is a referendum in some ways on President
Trump. And he wants to make it that. And his supporters look at that and say, he's out there strong and bold. We need to be out there for him. He knows that if he retreats, this becomes a Democratic conversation. He doesn't want that to happen.
All right, so a little bit of a technical snafu, but that's all right. So, okay. So let's kind of break this down, right? Because there was a lot of information there. But basically he's like, look, yeah, Trump is basically a narcissist, and he's going out there and he's actually actively campaigning as if he's running in a presidential campaign. Why? Because he wants to make it a referendum. Well, the other day he was talking about how, hey man, look, if you guys lose, if Republicans lose the midterms, that's not my fault. But then how can you make it a referendum about you and then completely distance yourself? But it's because he doesn't think, right? But at the same time, what he's actually going out there and doing, that's actually kind of smart politics. Now, I wonder what had happened, for example, if President Obama got out there in 2014 and 2010 in order to rally people just like Donald Trump, to use the bully pulpit, right? I wonder if that had actually turned out differently. Trump is actually playing smart politics for the wrong reason. And that's one thing Donald Trump is actually really good at, is that he's a marketer. So he's good at basically going out there and marketing himself and marketing the Republican Party in politics. Again, that is smart politics. He's using the bully pulpit to excite his base before an election. It's almost accidentally smart. Now, look, he was going to do this anyway, even if it wasn't smart politics. And Garrett is right, is that, and this is a part of the video that you didn't see, where a certain issue, for example, the migrant caravan, it plays well in certain places, but it does not play well in other places like California and New York, etc. And California, of course, has a lot of very important House races going on. So him going out there in the campaign trail could also motivate Democrats as well. So that is kind of interesting. Now, on the flip side, what are the Democrats doing? Well, the Democrats are starting to notice, and they're like, oh shit, maybe we should actually do something in the midterm as well. Bernie Sanders, for example, Bernie Sanders has been traveling around the country to stump for Democratic politicians. He was recently last week in Indiana, Michigan, and South Carolina, and he's going to a lot of other states. Now, we even have news that broke out today where President Obama is now getting involved in the midterms. He's like, oh, I better go to Michigan to rally for some of these Michigan Democrats. Bernie Sanders beat him to that. President Obama used to be the de facto leader of the Democratic Party, because that's what happens when you're president. So these politicians are actually, in a weird way, learning something from President Trump and saying, oh, shit, maybe we should go out and excite the base. Give them something to vote for instead of something to vote against. Or just not paying attention. Because look, midterms are pretty serious. And I've been saying this for years, right? Midterms do matter. And look, Republicans take it seriously. They always take it seriously. And unfortunately, a lot of Democratic voters don't. Now that sucks because midterms always matter. They are always incredibly important. You've got to get out there and get involved. And so hopefully some of these Democrats, and as well as Bernie Sanders, can offset what's going on with Trump. And look, there's a lot of voter registrations that are up this midterm cycle, which is amazing, which is awesome. But you got to get out there, man. You got to get out there. You got to vote. And here's the thing. This is the Republican strategy now. Trump getting out there, being visible, doing rallies, trying to gin up both excitement and fear. And so we got to get out there and do the same thing, promote truth and justice, and more importantly, get out there and beat them with our votes. So it's a very interesting analysis from Garrett. I think he's seeing it too much from a horse race perspective, because here's the thing. The reason I want Democrats to win is not because, oh, I'm Team Democrat. It's because I want policy. I want actual good policy. I want Medicare for all, single-payer health care, tuition-free education for public colleges and universities, $15 minimum wage. That's what I'm excited for. That's what I actually want. Comprehensive immigration reform, stuff like that. Now, look, a lot of you are probably skeptical about what the Democrats would actually do if they get into power. Look, if they just get in, if they just win the House, then there's nothing that they can actually do other than stop Donald Trump's agenda. But 2020 is the actual shot. And there are progressives on the ballot if they win these midterm races, in which, look, to be honest, if you're upset about some of the races that are being run now by some of the candidates, and you didn't get involved in the primary process, that sucks, man. But you should have gotten involved in the primaries. And if you didn't, now if you were disenfranchised, that's another thing. That's a completely different issue, and we've got a lot of disenfranchisement going on. But get involved in elections. The earlier you do, the better off you are of getting a candidate that might actually represent you. But in this case, it's a little late. We're stuck with the Democrats that we have. So we got to get out there and at least vote. I'm not excited about the current crop of Democrats, let's be honest, here in Michigan. Some of them at least. But at least I'm going to get out there and vote, because I think that's the least that you can do. And so, especially when Republicans are so energized right now. And look, if they continue, I care greatly. Get out there, vote. It's the only way you can stop them, man. Hey everybody, welcome back to the show. Around the Nation right here. Jeff Waldorf with you. I'm sorry about the long break. I had to take care of something. So apologies guys. And thanks for sticking with me. It's been one of those kinds of days. So, all right, let's dive into the next story we've got here for you guys. And that is tax cuts. Here we go again. All right. That is not it. There we go. All right. So President Trump says he wants to do another round of tax cuts. Now, this time he's saying, oh, it's a middle-class tax cut. Wait a minute. Wait, then what was that first tax cut about? I'm just curious about that. But anyway, a reporter had asked him about the timing of the tax cut, which is actually very interesting and a little curious. Now, this is basically a transcript of what happened. The reporter asked, you said lower tax cuts. You said that you wanted tax cuts by November 1st. Now, that is coming up. November 1st, very close. He wants to pass tax cuts for the middle class by November 1st. Now, the reporter adds, Congress isn't even in session. How is this possible? Trump responds, no, we're going to be passing, no, we're putting in a resolution sometime in the next week or week and a half, 2 weeks. First it's next week or the next week and a half or the next 2 weeks or whatever number I can basically pull out of my ass at this point. Now, the reporter continues. He says, resolution where? Okay, so you're doing a resolution now. You originally said it was tax cuts. So now resolution, but where's the resolution going when there's nobody in office? There's nobody in Congress right now. He says, quote, we're giving a middle income tax deduction of about 10%. We're doing it now for middle income people. This is not for business. This is for middle. That's on top of the tax decreases that we've already given them. And I'm going to give you some context into those tax decreases. But the reporter follows up and says, okay, look, I'm trying to understand here. Are you signing an executive order for this? No. I am going through Congress. But Congress isn't in session now. Well, we don't have time to do the vote. We'll do the vote later. But Congress is out. We'll do the vote after the election. But after the election is also after November 1st. So, okay. He obviously has no idea what he's talking about. He's like, oh, there's a tax cut coming. Nobody knows about it. And by the way, Republican leaders are like, what are you talking about? Tax cuts? No, we didn't authorize a middle class tax cut. No, what are you talking about? 10%? We don't know anything about that. And by the way, we're not even in Congress. We're right now running our re-election campaigns. You know the things that Democrats made a deal with Mitch McConnell to go back and do in exchange for federal judges? You know, going back and campaigning for the election? Come on, man. Really? So he's basically, and the other fun thing is that he's like, oh, this is for the middle. It's not for business. Well, then what was the last tax cut about? Republicans claim up and down, oh, it's for the middle class. The middle class tax cut. Rich people are actually going to get their taxes raised. That is a bullshit lie. 83% of the benefits of that tax cut went to rich Americans. Went to the top 10%. Now he's admitting, oh yeah, that one actually was not for you. It was for the rich. But now this one will be for you. And despite Congress being out of session, I've got a resolution. Now, look, for the record, I think a 10% tax reduction on the middle class is a great idea. Yeah, people making $50,000 a year or below. Wonderful. That'd be a great idea. And unfortunately, of course, Republican leaders, they're not interested in middle-class tax cuts. No, they're interested in tax cuts for the wealthy, which was in Tax Cuts 1.0. Now, here's the thing. The ones that already passed, regular working people, and this is the one that Trump likes to tout all the time, despite Republicans going, no, don't do it because they're deeply, deeply unpopular. I think it polls at about 24 to 27% among the American people. They look at this and like, what tax cuts? Where's mine? All I'm seeing is tax cuts for the rich. All I'm seeing is that, hey man, look, rich people got their tax cuts, but what do I save? I didn't save anything. I barely notice anything on my paycheck. Most people haven't even noticed a change in their paycheck, or it's just too damn small that they're like, eh. I mean, yeah, I guess, but meh, whatever. Oh. So, those tax cuts, by the way, that are meh and minuscule and basically crumbs, they go away in 2024. They sunset. Whereas the corporate tax cuts are there forever. Ever. And in fact, according to the Joint Committee on Taxation, by 2027, every income group below $75,000 will see a tax increase. Only those income ranges above $75,000 will still see a cut by 2027. And according to the Tax Policy Center, only taxpayers higher than the 90th percentile, those about earning $225,000 and above, will have better than even odds of getting a tax cut in 2027. There's more. According to the Urban's Brookings Tax Policy Center, families earning $25,000 or less will save about an average of $60 on their federal taxes this year. And those making between $48,600 and $86,100 will save about $930. That's, of course, your middle class. So, $930. Again, that is throughout the entire year. So, that's still not very much. That is not significant. Especially when you compare it to the top 1%. They will save an average of $51,140. And an average household, not really average, because there's nothing average about households making over $1 million. They would get an average cut of $69,660. And Tax Cuts 2.0, which is not the middle income tax cut that Trump was just talking about, but more cuts for rich people, would add another $40,000 or more in savings towards the top 1%, people making over $1 million a year. That plan is actually much further along than this random out-of-nowhere tax cut supposedly for the middle class. He's making things up. It's basically an afterthought. They're making shit up. He's making it up. He's like, oh, yeah, I got a tax cut coming for middle class people. No, you don't. No, you don't. Liar. Absolute liar. Look, here's the thing is, the tax cuts put forward by the Republican Party, they were never meant for you. No, they were meant for the wealthy. And whatever crumbs they ended up giving you were an afterthought in order to placate you while the donors run to the bank. That's the reality. That's why this tax cut is super unpopular. That's why nobody cares. That's why nobody... that's why Republicans aren't even running on it. They're like, oh man, this is deeply unpopular. Turns out the American people hate this because they see accurately that it goes to the richest Americans. So, more lies from the Republican Party, more lies from Donald Trump. That shouldn't be a surprise by now, but he got caught with his pants down, and it's kind of hilarious. He'll say whatever he thinks will try to get attention off his disastrous policy, but it's not going to work. All right. Moving on. So Fox and Friends has been beating the fear drum about the immigrant caravan. Now, that of course is the 5,000 to 7,000 people that are currently marching from Guatemala through Mexico, and a significant number of them may end up at the American border. Now, Fox, along with President Trump, are treating this as if this is the biggest crisis that we're facing. However, independents, they are not buying it. Now, Fox host Steve Doocy had recently interviewed a panel of independent voters and tried to fearmonger about the caravan, and he ended up actually getting nowhere. So first, let's watch that. We've got a couple of clips for you. Let's take a look.
One of the big stories right now is this migrant caravan that is heading toward the United States. Right now, it's north of apparently 7,000 people strong. Just curious, Michael, let's start with you. How big a problem is that the United States has uneven immigration laws?
I think uneven immigration laws are a problem for any country. And I think our immigration laws need to be modernized and updated. But this country is founded on immigration, and all of us come from immigrants.
Sure. So what should the United States do if those 7,000 people, by the time it gets here, it could be 10,000, it could be 20,000. What should the United States do about those people?
This is the mightiest country on the planet. I think we can handle a caravan of people unarmed coming to this country.
So let them in.
And, well, I'm saying to process them properly.
Right.
Okay, so that's fun. Now, I love how Doocy is pointing out, oh, it's 7,000 now. It could be 20,000 by the time that they actually get here. Oh my God, be afraid, be afraid, be afraid. And the guy's like, and? It's not like we're the most powerful country on the face of the planet. I think we can handle some people who are down on their luck and fleeing violence. I love that. Now look, Doocy might have been a little bit surprised there because that's not how the typical Fox viewer responds to this. Typical Fox viewer would basically at this point be shitting their pants and going, oh my God, the immigrant caravan, they're coming, they're going to hurt us all. Did you hear? Did you hear that there are random Middle Eastern people in there? Oh my God, they're terrorists. That's the Fox News reaction. But independents are like, yeah, and they're like, hey, you know what? This is an issue, and we should actually maybe do something about it instead of playing up the fear and, of course, the politics. In fact, the next couple of people mentioned that how this is nothing more than fear-based politics. Let's take a look at that.
One of the big stories
I think that the immigration crisis that we're seeing is a result of the failure of the two Democratic parties to actually engage the issue. Instead, they use it like a partisan football.
Sure.
There's a humanitarian crisis taking place in Central America, and yet this issue gets turned into a complete political football. There's very little honest discussion about what's actually happening. It gets turned into talking points.
And Aaron.
Yeah, treating this as an invasion is a bad idea, and it's going to end horribly if it is treated such as that way. So I think people have to realize, yeah, these are human beings coming here, and there needs to be a real solution.
Independence, man. Thank God. Look, obviously they're seeing past the bullshit talking points. They're like, look, this is an invasion. This is two parties playing political football. What are we doing? What are you guys talking about? Like, yes, we will handle this. Stop playing politics and actually come up with goddamn solutions. See, that's why people aren't interested in both, both political parties at this point. Because, look, during the Obama administration, we had a chance to actually do something on immigration reform. That was when Democrats had a supermajority in Congress. President Obama, yes, was focused on healthcare reform, which, look, I don't think that was a bad idea to go for healthcare reform, and I think he actually should have went further and you know, really put forward a single-payer healthcare system. But that's a completely other discussion. But he also could have done other things like, hey, guess what? Let's do immigration reform. But they didn't do it. Why? Why didn't they do it? That's a good question. Republicans, right now, they control Congress, and they have a chance. Look, you can say, well, but Democrats, they're going to, you know, block it. No, a lot of Democrats, guaranteed, would probably sign up to help with comprehensive immigration reform. But they're not interested in doing so. Why is that? Well, it's because it's about politics. For some, look, if they do immigration reform, there are people that can no longer do their talking points. If they actually fix problems, then people on the right can't demagogue and turn this into a political issue to basically scare people into coming out during the midterms. I know, right? Their whole plan is to scare the shit out of people so that they come out to vote. Isn't that sad? That's what our system has actually turned into. And look, Democrats also use this as a political issue. There is a reason that independents are pissed off, because we're not actually solving problems when we could. And guess what? We're not going to, as long as we have money in politics. Now, wait a minute, Jeff. What does this have to do with money in politics? That's crazy. Why do you come back to that? Well, it's because this entire theater, and that's what this is. Political theater is basically because the donors want it that way. The donors want cheap labor from undocumented immigrants, people who don't have citizenship. So this is why Democrats would be like, oh, but DACA recipients, so they can come in, and they're not actually citizens that actually don't have a pathway to citizenship, but they can work, and they can work, and they'll pay taxes, but they'll never get anything back for it. Wonderful. Our corporations can make money off these people, and our government can make money off these people, and they'll never get anything back. That's a win-win for us, and kind of a losing proposition for them, right? And so Republicans, of course, want tax cuts, and of course they want corporations to also have cheap labor from undocumented immigrants. Look, Trump, for example, has used, and there are countless examples of Trump using undocumented immigrants to work on his properties. He married an undocumented immigrant at this point. Melania Trump had overstayed her visa. She was undocumented. So, look, that's the truth, right? They all have their political agenda. And when Democrats are in power, they don't do anything because, again, cheap labor from the corporations. And the right uses this to This is all theater, right? And at least the people who are not blinded by partisanship, which independents make up a majority of voters, a majority of this country, I should say, they get it. And Ducey was probably not expecting those answers, but it's good to see that there are still rational people in this country who are more interested in solutions than letting their team win. Okay. Now let's go to Alex Jones yelling at poop. Yeah, okay. So that's fun. All right. I can't. Hold. Okay. Alex Jones has been filmed yelling at poop. Now, this video was taken by Reason journalist Elizabeth Nolan Brown. outside a rally held by President Trump and Republican Senator Ted Cruz. Now, she tweeted about this. Literally, the first thing I encountered in the vicinity of the Cruz-Trump rally was Alex Jones screaming at a pile of shit. Don't say I didn't bring you any scoops from this thing. So let's take a look at that video, and then we'll make fun of Alex Jones. Watch.
I think that the immigration...
This feels like a different kind of...
I think that...
One of the big stories right now is this...
This feels like a different...
Hold on.
One of the big stories...
I think that the immigration crisis that we're seeing is a result of the failure of the two Democratic parties.
One of the big stories right...
I think that the immigration...
This feels like a different kind of midterm.
It does.
Does it to you, too?
It feels like a national election, does it not? And there is a sense in the polling data...
Oh, there were some Trump protesters over there. We were just gooning them.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, they're still over there.
I was like, oh, okay.
Yeah, they're still over there being weird, but we're just having fun.
Yeah, I'd say that he lost it, but this is Alex Jones. He really had it. I mean, look, what kind of person argues with a pile of shit? I mean, seriously. I know, he's like, you could hear him yelling, like, apparently that was a stand-in for Beto O'Rourke. I don't know. But look, this guy looked about 2 seconds away from throwing it at someone, which, again, wouldn't be surprising, right? Now, of course, Twitter reacted appropriately to this shitty display. On Twitter, one user commented, "Imagine being the cameraman getting paid to film someone yelling at shit." Yeah, I know, right? Like, what? If you're in that position, you gotta question what you've done with your life. That cameraman, like, what did I do to deserve this shit? Seriously. What? I don't get paid enough for this. Really. I don't. Now, there's more. Some people got clever. Jason Burmeister says, "Never argue with a pile of shit. Onlookers may not be able to tell the difference." Mark Twain, maybe. Apparently a quote. And then Bob Clendenin says, "After a back and forth, they were not able to determine who was smarter, so Alex had stormed off." Look, I told you guys, right, that without his show, Alex Jones would be the guy muttering to himself in the subway. Well, now, apparently I was wrong about that. He's the guy out there yelling at random pieces of poop on the road. How the muddy have fallen. Okay. That's all I got on that. I could continue to make shit jokes, but that might get a little old. But anyway, this has been a little bit of a glitchy show, so we're going to end it there. Thank you guys for tuning in. Thank you for going around the nation with me today. Again, apologies about the technical issues that I've had today. It's been a real shit show. But we'll be back tomorrow. Hopefully things will be a little bit smoother. And thank you guys. Apparently there is a birthday going on here, so I want to give a birthday shout out. That is, I want to get the name right. Who has this birthday today? So I apologize for that. Again, shit show. Let's see. I'm just gonna find this. If you guys in the chat can help me out there, so I can give a proper birthday shout out, that would help out too. Here it is. Michael Cosentino, happy birthday, man, and thank you for watching the show. I appreciate that, and hopefully you have a fantastic birthday. So, thank you. All right, so guys, we'll see you guys tomorrow. Thank you all. Love you, and remember, change begins with you. Good night, nation. We'll see you guys tomorrow.